Welcome to part 2 of dividing decimals. In the first video, you learned about the different parts of a division equation. You learned about the dividend, the divisor, and the quotient. You also learned about the two rules that you have to remember when dividing with decimals, okay? So this part 2 video is about application. So let's get to it. So this was the Padlet question, okay, that you had in as your assignment. So the first thing we need to do is to make sure that you know how to write the word form into number form, okay? So divide 9 and 6/10 by 3/10, okay? So 9 and, so remember, when you see the and, we are referring to the decimal point, okay? So 9 is in the unit and 6/10, okay? 6, so we're writing the number 6, but where are we going to put it? It already is telling you the place value, so you need to put this in the, okay, you need to put the 6 in the 10th place, okay? And the next one is 3/10. So since there's no and, you know it's already a decimal. And you know that it also goes in the 10th place. So let's write it over here and just put a 0, okay? So now let's get to dividing it, okay? So which one is the dividend? 9 and 6/10 or 3/10, okay? The dividend is 9 and 6/10. So this is the dividend. And what is our divisor? The divisor is 3/10, okay? So let's put it in here. So 9 and 6/10 divided by, okay, 3/10, okay? Can we divide? Not yet. Remember, we cannot divide with a decimal as your divisor. So we need to move the decimal point one place to the right so that the 3 becomes a whole number. And if we do that with this, with the divisor, you also need to do that with the dividend, okay? So if I move it, okay, this one goes here, this decimal point goes here, our new numbers would be 96 divided by 3. And then divide as you would, okay? So 9 divided by 3, remember, going up, you divide. Going down, you multiply, okay? So 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0. Bring down the 6. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, there you go. Okay? So that is the answer to the first question. 9 and 6/10 divided by 3/10 is 32. Okay, so now let's go to the next question. Again, let's start by writing this in number form. 28 and 100ths, okay? So 28, I know it's going to be here because the and is the decimal point, okay? 100, so I know this is the digit 1, but where will I put it? It already tells you, please put me in the hundredths place. Okay, I'm gonna put you in the hundredths place. Okay, so we're putting the 1 in the hundredths place. Let's resize it a little bit. There you go. But miss, this is so annoying. What do I put in the gap? Put in a 0. There you go. 28 and 100ths, okay? And then 6 and 2/10. So we know the 6 is before the decimal point because and represents the decimal point. So we know 6 would be in the units and 2/10. So where am I going to put the 2? It already tells you, please put me in the 10th place. Okay la. There you go. 2/10. Okay? So there you have it. You know what you're going to divide. Now, tell me, which is the dividend? This is the dividend. Then, which is the divisor? This is the divisor. Okay? So your equation should look like this. 28 and 1/100 divided by 6 and 2/10. Okay? Can we start dividing? Of course not! Why? Because you cannot divide with the decimal. So same, we need to move the decimal point until we get a whole number. So in this case, I just need to move it one decimal place. Are we done? No! Because whatever you do to your divisor, you need to do to your dividend. So if you move this one place, you also need to move the decimal point here one place to the right. So now your new equation would be, okay, 280 and 1/10 divided by 62. Okay? So let me just move this by resizing it so that we have space, because this is going to be maybe a long one, but let's see. Okay. So what's the other rule? If you have a decimal point, immediately move it to the top already so you don't forget later on. Okay? So let's just erase this so we have more space. So let's look at the table of 62. Okay? So we can't do this because 2 is less than 62. So we need to move to the next place value, 28 divided by 62. Still cannot because it's less than 62. So the next one will be 280. OMG, how many 62s are in 280? So let's start. 62 times 1 is 62. 62 times 2 is 124. 62 times 3 is what? 186. 62 times 4 is 248. And 62 times 5 is 310. So which one are we going to use? 280. So it's this one. 62 times 4. Okay, so let's do this. So let's put the 4 on top, and 62 times 4 is 248. Subtract, and let's borrow. We need to borrow. Okay, so this becomes 7. This becomes 10. Okay, and now we can subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2. 7 minus 4 is 3. Okay, so let's make that a little thicker. 3. That's it. Then bring down the 1. 321. So let's look again at our table of 62. Okay, so we have 310. But let's check. Maybe 62 times 6 would be helpful. Let's see. What is 62 times 6? Okay, so that would be 372. Too much. So that means we have to use 62 times 5. Okay, so 5 times 62 is 310. Subtract. So 1 minus 0 is 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. So now we have to keep on going because we need to round to 2 decimal places. But miss, we ran out of numbers already. No problem. Just add another 0 and bring it down. So now we have 110. So since we already have our table of 62 here, let's look. Which one are we going to use? 62 times 2 is too much. So that means we have to use 62 times 1. Okay? So 62 subtract, then we need to borrow again. So this becomes 10 and this becomes 10, okay? 10 minus 2 is 8. 10 minus 6 is 4. Then we need to go one more because in order to round to 2 decimal places, you need a third decimal place, okay? So let's add another 0, bring it down, 480. Okay, as you can see here, we are only at 372, so we need to check. 62 times 7. Okay, so that would be 434. So it's still less. It's still less. So we need to try 62 times 8. So what would that be? 496. So now 62 times 8 is too much. So that means we need to use 62 times 7. Okay? So 7 times 62 is 434. Again, we borrow. This becomes 7. This becomes 10. Okay? So 6 and 4. Do we need to continue? No, because we already have the third decimal place. So do you remember the rule? If you are rounding, okay, to 2 decimal places, you need to look at the third decimal place. And if the digit in the third decimal place is greater than or equal to 5, meaning it's 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, this digit, okay, rounds up. Okay, so the final answer to this question is, okay, 4 and 517 thousandths round to 2 decimal places becomes 4 and 52 hundredths. Okay, so this is the final answer. Okay, so do the Padlet by yourself. If you did not get it right before, do it now. If you did not know how to do it before, do it now. Okay, the key to being good at math is to practice, practice, practice. And hopefully this tutorial helped you understand the material better. Okay? Bye-bye.